Good morning, good evening, wherever you are across the nation and around the world. This is Deja Brew, waking you up to truth one drip at a time. And today is Beyond the Veil. We had a target, so to speak, for the team to look at this week. And our target was the Sahara Desert 11,000 years ago. How do y'all think you did before we begin?
Um, this was very hard for me. I can't even fathom 11,000 years ago. So I'm very
Okay.
curious to see how this plays out.
Okay. Did you connect with anything?
A little bit.
A little
I
bit?
started off doing the
Okay,
gateway.
don't get into the whole details
Okay.
of it just yet.
Okay.
I mean, like what you found, but yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. You can tell your process.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did the gateway and I was very excited because it's the first time I did it without falling asleep.
Yep.
And it was really cool. And let's see, I ate something and then I went for a walk and then I smudged with Palo Santo
Yeah.
and my crystals. I smudged my crystals and me, and I totally thought about Mike with his Palo Santo. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my
Yeah.
prep.
Awesome. What about you, Mike? What'd you do
Well,
to get ready?
I had an embarrassing moment. I also was worried that I didn't want to fall into the same category all of us would fall into, um, because my mind was playing tricks on me. I had something really embarrassing to tell you all. I don't know where the Sahara Desert is located, and
That's
um,
perfect.
and I just kept it that way as much as I
Yeah.
wanted to, because I have to physically, like geographically, need to know these things when I want to play around like this.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the AI Atlas, I wanted to ride it like a wild bronco on a dirty piece of dirt or whatever, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't allow me to physically ride it, so it placed me like 50,000 miles ahead of it.
Yeah.
So and in this case, um, I got through without
Okay.
knowing where it was in my head. I got through.
Okay, great. Missy, what about you? What kind of approach did you take to this?
Well, I mine just comes to me like throughout, like it just hits me. Like I cannot even I'll be thinking about it or want to think about it and nothing will come to me. And then all of a sudden I'll be doing something and it'll just like hit me. But it's been a little um later this week and I got a little bit of stuff and then I got a little bit more stuff. Um but the stuff that I got, it kind of worries me because it doesn't make sense to me. So, but I'm going with it. I'm going to trust the process and see where it leads us.
Okay. Well, that's the beauty of this. To not know the geographic location, to not know how to fathom that far back in time, and to not really be able to make sense of what you're seeing per se is the beauty of it. Because if my predictions are correct, all of you hit it in your own particular way and will be shocked to learn what this is that I had you to look at. Okay. So I want to begin with Missy, and then we'll go to Jen, and then Mike, and then we're going to go through a few things.
Okay, got to take off my glasses to read. So I first started seeing like the color green, and then I seen it was like it's just like grass and trees and that type of stuff. And then I seen water with like lakes and rivers, and I seen animals. I seen big animals like hippos, rhinoceros, elephants, giraffes. Also seen some like aquatic, how do you say that word? Animals like turtles, fish. Then I started seeing the people. Um, these people were, I'm gonna say, like hunters and gatherers. Not really, not really like a real civilization. They were kind of like, I want to say like Neanderthal, but not. They were kind of like in the middle. They weren't cavemen, they had knowledge and could do things, but they wasn't exactly the cultural society like that builds stuff in my eyes. And they were maybe 6 to 7 feet tall, not giants, but they were really tall. They were really tall in nature. These people had like huts or grass houses. There was like cave dwellings that some of them stayed in. And then their climate started to change a little bit at a time. And so they had all this green lush, but it started getting drier as time went on, and it pushed some of the people away from this area. And then the ones that stayed, or they kind of adapted to it and was able to live in the future when it got, I'm saying Sahara because I'm thinking, desert. But I kind of think that it came across as it was kind of a lead up to like the African people, or maybe the Egyptian people. And then today, it just kind of, a question came to me, and it said, was there a woman? Was she in charge? And to me, it said that she was of somewhat importance. And that's what I have.
All right, brilliant, very cool. So how do you think I'll do this? Do you want me to, like, after each of you, tell what I think that you would see, or wait until
Wait
after
till the
y'all?
end. Wait till the end.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Jen.
Okay, so I don't feel like I got near as much. So I put on a theta waves, like specifically for psychic abilities, and did a meditation. And I don't know if you can see, but I was doing the doodle thing, like you were talking about on last week's episode, trying to
Yeah.
tap in. And I saw people in groups marching up sand dunes, people yelling. I felt anger. I saw a large animal, something I've never seen before, kind of looked like a rhino, but it's like a light brown tannish color. Then I smelt something burning and felt like a civil unrest of some kind, which, like, I don't even know if they had civilizations. Like I said, it's so much for me to fathom. So then I switched to a totally different meditation music that was specifically for remote viewing. And this, what I saw, makes absolutely no sense, but I'm rolling with it. I saw like a circle of light going over a tower structure. Like if this is the tower, I saw the circle of light just going down it, and then a lightning strike in the sky. And by the time I was done with this, I was like, this makes no sense. And my analytical Virgo mind kicked in and said, you're crazy, but trust.
I love it.
Good,
Mike?
because I've been so nervous all day.
Okay. Well, like I said, I had no idea, and I still have no idea. Well, I have maybe three ideas of where it's at. I do not know where the Sahara Desert is, but the first thing I had to do was fathom 11,000 years. Like Jennifer said, that was my first hurdle. The first obstacle in my path was to to do the math in my head, and I had to break it down 10 years at a time, 100 years at a time to get to the target. Um, so what I got was, it's not a desert. um, I got moist, humid. Uh, I kept getting really dark brown, luscious leaves. It reminded me of my rubber plant. I had I don't know if you all are familiar with a rubber
Oh,
tree
yeah.
plant. My grandma used to always have one of those going, and whenever I would visit her, um, I would get a rubber tree plant from her. So that's what it kind of reminded me of. Really big, dark, luscious leaves. Um, a very big sun. We have an area up here in the Bay called Big Sur, but I kept getting Big Sun. Like, I didn't know if it was physically bigger or what, but it was a big deal. And it's not the sun over the desert, obviously, because this was not a desert. I got like a rainforest, but not ideal for life. Civilizations flourish, dripping with water, not because it's raining or because it's a rainforest, but just because it's wet. I went through an Egyptian thing as well. Um, I put Egyptian ways, but no desert and not in Egypt. I'm on this kick where I see the Egyptian stuff here in the States. I don't know why I mixed it in with some of this, but it came along for the ride. Lost in history and civilizations buried, covered and lost. Um, and I also looked at the Egyptians in a different way this time. I looked at it more of a world class, not just Egyptians sitting there in the Giza plateau, but I seen like the Egyptian class like worldwide, like everybody was on board with this class. It was like a class, like first class, second class, third class. Um, that's about all I got. I wrote the word gateway down again and I circled it for probably the fourth time now because Jennifer mentioned it. That's all I have.
Very
Oh, and
good.
I used Palo Santos, and this is my Lemurian clear quartz
Pretty.
brought to you today.
And what drew you to the Lemurian quartz?
The clearness of it, the clearness of it, and I haven't used it yet in any of our shows. I don't want to grab the same one that I've used previously.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it has, I feel it has anything to do with Lemurian.
Indirectly, it does.
So pretty.
It is
Okay.
pretty.
So for Missy, I felt that she was going to see so many specifics that this would include vegetation, animals, attributes to the people, their communities or the way of living, and their stature. I wrote down stature as well. Lots of details. I really felt like she was going to have lots and lots of details, including elephants. I literally wrote that down. And that she would go straight for the target, but in a wider, broader perspective where she's more with the more commoners, the common people, rather than the central people, the builder race, if you will, right? The the majority rule. And Missy,
What?
yes, there were women that ruled. Men
See,
too.
that
They
came to
they
me.
both had their roles, but the women were the authority.
That just kind of like came to me, and it came to me in a question, and I'm like, what?
Hmm. And I felt like you were going to feel kind of freaked out by some of what you were seeing because it wasn't going to make sense to you, but that you were going to go ahead and trust it and write it down and go with the flow. So do you think I got spot on?
You did.
All right, with Jen, I saw going more for the conspiratorial side of this story, which she did do. Um, I saw her um, seeing some type of destruction rather than the way of life or its beginnings. I knew she would see the destruction, the conclusions to what happened, and that she would give descriptive words to explain their demise, plot twists, endings, maybe even death itself. Okay. And then
Okay.
for Mike, I wrote that Mike will see the elementals and he will connect with the Egyptian crystals.
That's crazy.
Holy
That he
shit.
will see Egyptian type artifacts that are the actual artifacts of this location, but he will keep seeing Egypt. He will also see the many different races around the world that come from this one land, because this is ground zero, guys, of humanity. This is ground zero of humanity. And I felt like Mike would see more of what the root people, the builder races, would know and see, like the symbols, the rocks, the elements, the colors in the elements. I felt like he would pick that up. Also more of the traditions, such as the symbolism and the artifacts that would connect him with Egypt or even North America. So I think I did pretty good. And you all, I know, did really well. You just don't know what you've actually viewed yet. Let me back up just a little bit here and show you what it was that you viewed.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Is it this one? No, this one. Yeah. Yeah, no. Okay. I got to go back over here. Give me just a moment. Feel free to talk if you want.
I don't think I can talk. I'm too excited.
I know when I started seeing lush green and lush lands, I was like, this is the Sahara Desert. The only thing I know about the Sahara Desert is it's a dang desert.
Yeah.
You don't have
I
green.
know nothing about it. I don't even know where it is. I don't know what continent it's on.
I don't know where it's at. I just know that it's a desert. And you know, you
I
assume deserts are dry.
I had two guesses to where it was going to be, and then today or yesterday, I came up with one more location that I added to my to my possibilities. But yeah,
Oh, and that's another thing that you're going to be absolutely blown away by, Mike, is that your Egyptian artifacts and those two locations you named all fit, and they even fit together. But let me start with showing you an aerial view of the Sahara Desert. Get the right one. Nope. That one. Okay. Let me go back here. Can all of you see that?
Not yet.
not
It looks
yet.
like it's thinking. I see the circle. It's
Okay.
trying.
Let me know when it gets there.
Oh,
All
I
I see is
will.
a black screen.
Same here.
It's the
Oh,
retrograde.
okay. Hold on. Now, do
There
you
it
see
is.
it?
Yeah,
That looks like an eye.
I wanted to do that so bad. I just wanted to go on Google Earth and just get a bird's eye view like that. Is all I wanted.
Me too.
So this is called the Eye of the Sahara. Clearly, you can see why they call it that.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's a great big damn eye.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's also the cradle of civilization, the true cradle.
So
So let's go.
I assume that's Africa.
Yes and no.
Okay. Oh my
Okay, can you
God!
see this page?
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Now do you see what you were viewing?
Now I see what you may have been suggesting with the Lemurian,
Mm-hmm.
Was this
because
Atlantis?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, because when Mike was talking, it just kind of hit me. This is Atlantis. Oh my God.
Yep.
I got chills.
Yep.
Oh my God.
This is Plato's Atlantis, right down to the very details of them finding the red and the black rock here. Do you see those mountains over here in the background?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Still to this day, do you know what the name of that mountain is?
Uh-uh.
It's the
Uh,
Atlas Mountains.
oh.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, which is also in Plato's description
Hmm.
of Atlantis.
AI Atlas. Here we go. We're talking about AI Atlas. We're talking about third eye
Right,
AI.
right.
I got full body chills and it ain't even
That's
cold in here.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, okay, before we go to that one, let me just get back over here where I can look at you all. This is 550 years, give or take, before Atlantis was destroyed, 11,000 years ago. Okay. Known as the Eye of the Sahara, and the widget. The widget is very important here. Let me pull up the widget for you so that you can understand its significance and, in my opinion, why it was created.
Oh.
Because since Atlantis's true origin, first spot, right? Its first spot is the Eye of the Sahara. We had to delineate. Oh, come on, my computer's locking up on me. Dude, seriously? My mouse is gone.
Retrograde.
I know, right? Let me see if I can do this with my hand. Ay, ay, ay. Come on. I got nothing. Okay, anyway, while I'm waiting for it to unfreeze itself, I think that the part of the eye, the widget part down here, is because you have to delineate between Egypt and Africa on the eye of the Sahara, because part of the 10 children of Poseidon went west, part of them went east. They traveled around the world. And so this points in the two directions that they left from, right? 6 went this way, 6 went this way. Atlas himself stayed in the original Atlantis. And Zeus actually was like the one that made sure that everybody followed the rules in those days. But Asherah was their queen or their leader, if you will. She went by many names. Some people know her as Inanna, others know her as Isis, but she was indeed a ruler. As well, we have the Irish Celts, we have the Mari people of Mauritania, which is right next to Egypt and Africa. We also have the Maoris in Australia and New Zealand area. We have the Egyptians, we have the Native Americans, particularly the Cherokee with their 7 tribes, and they are all facets of Atlanteans that traveled around the world. And just small fun fact, Poseidon had 10 kids, and they were 5 sets of twins, which I feel like is very significant.
Wow.
So we've got the. Am I unfroze yet?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Oh,
My mouse is still froze. Hello. Woohoo. My touch screen ain't even working.
wow.
Don't make me get mad and fry everything.
She can do it too.
God dang it. I can't even show my video clip. All right. Anyway, I guess we'll just do it this. I can't even see y'all on the damn screen. I'm just stuck over here in a little box in the corner. Somebody done put baby in the corner. Damn it.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Right.
It's about time for me to watch that movie again.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah.
But I have my own weird personal memories that as a child I would tell my mom about when it came to Atlantis. My mother was a big fan of sassafras tea. And every time she would be making sassafras tea, it would just drive me nuts. And I would run out of the house just so I could breathe fresh air. And every single time I would tell her, it smells just like elephant tree bark. And she's like, that's the stupidest thing ever. There's no such thing. But there actually was a such thing as the elephant tree in the Sahara Desert when it was lush and green and very wet. Not a rainforest, but very wet. And they used the elephant tree bark in a tea as a medicinal. And they know now what it smells like, and they'll compare it to sassafras. And I'm like, that's crazy to me, right? Also, another interesting fact here is that Missy thought that she saw giants, but not big giants. Well, the Atlantean people are Mike's size version of the smaller giant. So that's a very cool thing too that you picked up on that, as well as what'd you call them? The other people?
With
The
what?
simple, the simple people?
The primitive people?
Yeah.
She said they weren't quite cavemen. They were more.
Neanderthal.
Yeah, they were like Neanderthal, but they wasn't quite caveman people. They were like in between civilizations. Not crazy.
Not dragging the women by their hair, but
But they didn't
Yeah.
really know a lot. They didn't really know a lot. Some of them.
Okay. Hey, listen. I'm gonna have to hard reboot to be able to get out of this because it's just locked up like a son of a bitch. So if it kicks y'all out of the Zoom, come back in.
Gotcha.
okay.
Now you're really stuck on my screen. Your head. It's in the screen.
Yeah. She's doing my worst nightmare.
Gotta love Mercury retrograde.
Come look at your face. You're like peering into our souls.
Yes.
You know what's funny is I never even thought of the Atlanteans along the same lines as the Egyptians. Even though I love Thoth, I'd call him Thoth, but when I see videos and people they say Thoth,
right?
I love Thoth and the Emerald Tablets. I'm really into that stuff. He dressed Egyptian, and I know he is an Atlantean.
Right.
That's part of his name, Thoth the Atlantean. But I never put it together.
Yeah, I had seen the African and Egyptian. I'm like, that don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Africans and Egyptians.
I was like, I know I have Egyptian fever. You know what I mean? So I just need to stop. That's what I was thinking. I just need to stop with that Egyptian this, Egyptian that.
I think I need to learn to stop second guessing myself and just go and just follow suit.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Me too. Yeah. Because I get so in my head.
Right. I'm like, that cannot. I mean, I've never heard of the Sahara being luscious, and it was like,
Right. I'm trying to focus on, okay, I'm going to the desert. How come I don't see no sand?
right.
And then the logic part of my mind kicked in and I was like, oh my God.
She's
Whoop, there she is. But she's on the right side now. On my right side, anyway.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of that, Mike, there should be 3 little dots in the top right corner of everybody's box where you can pin them and make them big all the time.
Where it says view.
No, in the top corner of everybody's face box.
Oh. Oh, where it says,
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I meant
And
to
I
tell you that
can
before we started and I
huh.
forgot.
I could choose an
Okay.
avatar. I will never do that. I will never, never do that.
No, me neither.
Never, never.
I never fell for that shit.
Yeah. I don't like those backgrounds they offer either because when you move, it makes you look like a fucking cyborg or something.
Blur my
Parts of your head
background.
disappear and shit. It's weird.
Ooh, I just blurred my background. That's dumb.
It's dumb.
I like to see my alien head.
Yeah.
So did you hear me, Kelly? I was like,
No.
I never really put the Atlantis civilization along the same lines as the Egyptians, even though I'm a big Thoth fan,
Yeah.
and even though his name, it's part of his name, Thoth the Atlantean, he
Yeah.
dresses, he looks Egyptian, and
Yeah.
I really just never put it together until you like, oh my God, Atlantis is it's like Egyptian like. It's like it influenced a big part of the globe.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
style, the pyramids that we find in the Mayans, all that
All over the
stuff
world. All over
is
the
in
world.
honor
That's the
of
reason we
that
find these
style.
pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Atlanteans seeded the whole world. They had colonies or communities or whatever you want to call it all across the globe. So, yeah, Egypt is a direct descendant and, wisdom keeper, lost wisdom keeper now, of the Atlanteans. Same as the Native Americans, same as the Mongolian indigenous peoples, like all over the world. The Australian shaman, all of them are factions. The Mari people, they're all related. They're
And
all
that big
Atlantean.
sun, the big sun that I was
The
tripping
big,
off of
the big
looks like
sun.
an Egyptian sun too. It looks like the sun of
So the Eye of Ra or the Eye of Horus,
yeah,
right? And the widgets are different on each of those, pointing a different direction because the Eye of Horus was the faction on one side and the Eye of Ra was the faction on the other side of the Nile River. And that's the cool thing that I was going to show you is that when they talk about the geography of the Sahara Desert, the Nile River is right there. The whole story of Moses happened right there, Mount Sinai, right? Like all of that
oh,
is there in that area. And they did have lush vegetation, lots of animals, weird rhinos that were tan instead of gray. I mean, like, you guys did so much better than you even know. And that was actually part of what I wrote here, too, that I want to cover because I want you to learn to trust yourself and your abilities because it doesn't have to feel hard to be right. Okay. For Mike, I wrote that he would ping Atlantis in a roundabout way, possibly without ever even realizing it until we get to the show. He would second guess himself. He would let logic try to step in. Then he would argue with himself. He
yeah.
would feel like he would feel like he's lacking the confidence and the sight to see this to completion and possibly even have less than thoughts in the process, but there is no need to because this isn't about ego, him not giving himself this credit. It's about learning to trust his knowing. Um, the only thing on you that I really feel like I got wrong is that I really thought that because you're so connected to the crystals and the rocks, that you would literally see the red and the black rocks that they used to build Atlantis that are still there in the Sahara to this day. That's the only little thing on what I wrote about Mike that didn't happen.
That's funny. I just got done telling the girls when you were gone that I know I'm chung up on Egyptian stuff. You know what I mean? I know I got an Egyptian problem. And I
There's a
told myself that
reason.
I needed to let it go for this one. But I felt like I had to bring it along for the trip.
There's a reason that you're obsessed with Egypt, though, and it's
Uh,
not a problem, it's a memory.
Love it.
And you need to trust that when your memory is speaking to you. And for
man.
Missy, I wrote that Missy would go straight to Atlantis, but not know she's in Atlantis because she's going to connect with the commoners so much more than the leaders that she would miss it. That she's not going to necessarily see details of construction, but of commerce, their way of life, the way they look. She's going to feel vulnerable, maybe even a little rattled about what she's seeing, but that she would go ahead and tell herself to breathe through it, trust, and move with the flow of what she was getting. And I feel like you did just that.
I realized something else about myself after you say that, because that is how I am today. Like, I mean, I've been in various leadership roles and managers positions, and I'm not the typical manager that will stay in the office and do stuff. I'm out on the floor with the people. Because
Mm-hmm.
how else better to know your people if you're not involved with them? Like, you've got to be involved with them, and that's just,
Yep.
I've always been that way.
Yeah. You're that type that gets in there and rolls up your sleeves and works with them. You're not a stand back, bark orders. So I felt like you would really mesh with the people, which were the more commoners that lived in like the mountain dwellings, right?
In the
Instead of
huts.
within the city of Atlantis itself. They lived on the outskirts, right? Now for Jen, I saw her being totally blank at first and not feeling like she's getting anywhere. So she would do extra things.
I know,
Which
dude.
you did do extra things this
Oh
time
yeah.
in your ritualistic stuff, right? I would feel like you're not going to trust yourself. I felt like you're not going to trust yourself, but that you also were not going to be dependent on your past loved ones this time to give you the answers, that you would push through, and that you would miss the main Atlantis topic, but that you would see its fall, the beginnings of its
And
fall. And
when
in
I
the
saw the
beginnings,
light,
go ahead.
was that the fall? When I saw the light going over the tower, was that the fall?
Yeah, yeah. And you even saw the conspiratorial beginnings of it where there was already this discourse happening where, they're like, we're going to overthrow this, we're going to fight against that. And there were these little small wars breaking out between them. And there was a lot of tit for tat shit going on, which caused small village fires, forest fires, all kinds of things from their attacks on each other. Okay.
Yeah, she said lightning. She said something about lightning too.
Civil
Yeah.
War.
Well, now Poseidon, in the end, Zeus and the others report to Poseidon and tell him what kind of fuckery's going on and the mayhem that's been broke loose and that they can't get a handle on it. And he says, all right, get the few chosen and I'm smiting the rest. And that's when the deluge happened. And the interesting part of the Atlantis story is that Plato saw it underwater, right? But we're seeing this in the desert. So how can you rationalize that? So I have a little 35-minute film that we're going to watch so that you can understand just how right we are about the Eye of the Sahara actually being Atlantis. the crap just happened there? Why did we go to that? This crazy
place in
app.
the remote Western Sahara Desert called the Rishat structure. And if you've never seen...
All right, hold on. This thing's jumping all over my page. Let me get it to stop freaking out. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
All right.
or heard of this place before, you are in for something truly fascinating. Some people refer to it as the Eye of the Sahara or the Eye of Africa, and when you see it from space, it's not hard to understand why. I mean, it really does look like an eye. And people are absolutely stunned when they see it for the first time. Between its unusual symmetrical shape, color, and immense size, it takes many people by curious surprise as they wonder not only what this thing is, but how did they go their whole life without seeing or hearing about it before. However, the fascination of this place goes far beyond its intriguing shape and design. 2 years ago, I made 3 videos where I shared more than a dozen remarkable similarities between this structure to that of Plato's description of the legendary lost ancient city of Atlantis. And these similarities are so astounding that the topic of Atlantis and the Rishat structure quickly became one of the most discussed and hotly debated topics involving lost ancient human civilizations, as tabloid news outlets from around the world picked up on the story, and the videos ignited thought-provoking conversation as to whether or not it's possible that the lost city of Atlantis actually existed, and if so, had it been hiding in plain sight in the remote, desolate Mauritanian desert of Africa for thousands of years. But even for most people, when they hear the words Lost City of Atlantis, most would usually think of some animated Disney movie about a fictional underwater city, or perhaps some beach resort in the Bahamas. However, a little known fact is that the true origins of the tale of Atlantis originates from the ancient Egyptians, as they had carved in stone that there were survivors of Atlantis, which were said to be a sophisticated civilization that existed some 12,000 years ago. That was until their island was obliterated by a cataclysm, and the survivors of Atlantis found their way to the Nile Delta region to start all over again as colonizers. And I'll be retouching on many of those similarities again in this video, as incredible new information has come to light, and it is now time to revisit this topic again. You see, the interest in the Eye of the Sahara is not just limited to us here chatting about it over the internet, because it turns out that the CIA has also had quite an interest in this place as well, and it goes back decades. So get this. There are declassified CIA documents on the Rishat structure, the Eye of the Sahara. That's right, and I've seen the released files with my own eyes, and I'm going to share them with you here as well. And I have to say that this stuff is beyond interesting. However, let me just say that there's nothing in these declassified files that say anything about Atlantis or lost ancient civilizations. What they do say is quite interesting. However, what these files do not say, the parts that are redacted and still classified, is really going to get you thinking. So where do I begin? Well, it turns out in 1967, the CIA conducted a secret mission where they sent military aircraft to conduct covert surveillance and scientific experiments on about a dozen different sites from around the world to study for geomagnetic anomalies. And of the few places in the world that they chose to study on this top secret mission, the mysterious Eye of the Sahara just so happened to be one of them. And like I said, the stated purpose of studying these sites was for identifying geomagnetic anomalies, which, if you're not familiar, the Earth's geomagnetic field is what shields us from the vastness of space, which, when you think about it, is incredible. I mean, it allows our planet to travel through the cosmos at incredible speeds, all while protected from the vacuum of space as we live comfortably and safely within a seemingly invisible shield that's in the shape of a bubble. So now that this secret mission is declassified, what were the results of that mission and the scientific experiments? Well, we don't know, because that part is still classified, as there is nothing in these release files that say anything about what the findings of their scientific study were related to geomagnetic anomalies or their covert surveillance. Which is utterly weird when you consider that this was back in 1967, 54 years ago from 2021, and we still don't get to know what the results of their findings were? So yeah, is it just me, or is that strangely interesting? But here's the thing, that is just the beginning of where things start to get weird. In fact, that is probably the least interesting part of these declassified files. Now, before I share that next part, I must first revisit a few of the remarkable similarities between the Eye of the Sahara to that of the Tale of Atlantis, so that way we can all truly appreciate just how interesting / bizarre all of this actually is. As I discussed in my previous videos, the story of Atlantis originates from the ancient Egyptians, and they had described an empire named Atlantis, which consisted of 10 kingdoms, and the capital of Atlantis was on an island that consisted of 3 rings of water and 2 of land, which, of course, when we look at the Richat structure, you see that it would precisely match that specific detail of 3 rings of water and 2 of land. And not only that, it was said to open to the sea at the south, which is exactly what you see here at the Richat. In fact, you can literally see the striations in the sand where water once flowed through it. But not only that, those white blemishes are indeed salt. An unbelievably significant detail which I'll discuss more of in a moment. But Atlantis was also said to have mountains to the north, mountains that were said to have rivers run through them, which, yes, there are mountains with evidence of ancient water flow north of the Richat. Atlantis was also said to be surrounded by a large plain, which also exists for hundreds of miles on both sides of the Richat structure. Another striking similarity is that Atlantis was said to consist of black, red, and white colored stone, which is incredibly interesting when you see all the stones of that color in and around the region of the Richat. There was also said to be an abundance of elephants, and elephants live in Mauritania today and have for thousands of years. In fact, there's an even ancient cave art depicting elephants not far from the Richat. And Atlantis was also said to have an abundance of exotic fruit and vegetables, which makes the case for it being in North Africa even more compelling, considering that we now know that the Sahara Desert didn't even exist until somewhere around 11,600 years ago, where it went from green to desert in practically an instant. But many people are not aware of this incredible fact that the Sahara had previously been a lush green tropical paradise at the same time that Atlantis was said to exist. In fact, it was said to be made up of the largest freshwater lakes and rivers ever known to exist anywhere on Earth, which of course would support that the region of the Western Sahara would have naturally growing fruits and vegetables. But alleged vegetation that no longer exists in this region aside, Atlantis was said to have an abundance of metals, including iron, copper, and gold. Well, it turns out that Mauritania's most common exports today include iron, copper, and gold. But the similarities do not end here. You see, Atlantis was said to be created by the god Poseidon, and Poseidon had 10 children that came from 5 sets of male twins. And each of these 10 children would individually be ruler of the 10 kingdoms that made up the empire of Atlantis. And the firstborn would rule the capital, and his name was Atlas. So does anyone want to guess who the name of the first king of Mauritania was? King Atlas, who ruled over the Maori people, which is why the land is called Mauritania today. And not only that, the vast mountain region located north of the Richat just so happens to be named the Atlas Mountains. What a coincidence. Now, another incredible detail involves this map. Herodotus is considered by many to be the father of history due to his extensive historical documentation. In fact, we wouldn't even know about the Greco-Persian Wars if it wasn't for him. And some 2,500 years ago, he made a written detailed account of the known world at that time. However, he himself did not draw out this map. Others, and I do not know who or when, read through his various works and annotated that the people of Atlantis lived in this region you see here, which just so happens to be the same general location of the Richat structure. What are the odds of that? The very same place that has a highly unusual land feature that consists of symmetrical rings. Now, the similarities do not even end here. Go watch my 3 other videos on this topic, because for the sake of brevity in this video, I want to share new information that has come to light. But just to sum up where we're at so far, the most striking comparisons include that the Richat would have 3 rings of water and 2 of land, an opening to the sea at the south, mountains to the north with evidence of water erosion, black, red, and white colored stones, an abundance of iron, copper, and gold, a vast plain surrounding on both sides. Elephants existed in this area, and not only that, evidence of profound amounts of vegetation existing at the same place and at the same time of when Atlantis was said to exist. Now, these similarities are pretty remarkable. However, that does not necessarily prove that this is the long-lost location of Atlantis. In fact, there are many different counter-arguments on why this could not be the site, which I'll be discussing in detail later in the video. But let me first circle back to the declassified files on the Eye of the Sahara. Like I mentioned, these files do not say anything about Atlantis or lost ancient civilizations, nor do they include the very results of the scientific study for geomagnetic anomalies, which is so weird considering, again, it's 54 years later, and we're still not allowed to know, because here's what I consider to be the weirdest part of all, which involves the entire context of this study itself. Quote, "While the scientific aspects of this survey are totally unclassified and available to the worldwide scientific community, blank, redacted, not unclassified, as in still classified 54 years later in 2021. Let me read that again. While the scientific aspects of this survey are totally unclassified and available to the worldwide scientific community, nothing. What did the rest of this half page that is now whited out and redacted, and even which continues on to a small portion on the next page, what did all of this say? It's quite literally the entire context of the mission itself, and yet it's still classified. They purposely removed it decades later. So ask yourself, 1, why did they end up not including the results of their findings within the released declassified files, despite the fact that they said that they would? 2, why did they classify the mission itself when they had also first said that it wasn't going to be? And 3, why is this giant portion redacted from the declassified files themselves? Like I said at the beginning of this video, that is strangely interesting, isn't it? But let me be clear, I am not suggesting that these files had anything to do with Atlantis. But at the same time, I am. Find it interesting in that Atlantis was said to have special geologic properties to it. For example, the center island of the capital was said to have 2 springs of fresh water, one of cold, the other warm, and that in itself would be geologically unique. So the fact that there was something about this site that led to a top secret study for geomagnetic properties makes me wonder, particularly when you realize that most of it is still classified in so many decades later. And especially when you consider that this site just so happens to have so many uncanny similarities to the description of Atlantis, as I just shared. But with all of that said, do you guys want to hear some new information that I've learned that makes this location even more compelling? So, despite the striking similarities at the Richat in comparison to Atlantis, many people still have doubts that the Eye could even possibly be the location, as the structure today is more than 1,200 feet above sea level. So, how could this place be the location of an island that once met the ocean? Well, notice the various areas of white coloration that you see not only from the air, but from satellite imagery as well. These white blemishes are indeed salt. You can even go there and taste it right off the ground yourself, as my journalist friend Josh Sigurdsson did, and what an insanely epic trip he had to this site. In fact, he almost died, and I encourage all of you to go and watch his video on BitChute. But something many people do not know is that this region has an abundance of salt at surface level. In fact, you can read articles about the salt caravans that exist in Mauritania today. This is something that is widely documented yet little known. This salt came from the ocean, and you can literally see it in the exact areas where cataclysmic flooding once flowed through here, as you can see from satellite imagery. And even the areas of the lowest elevation within the Richat are the areas with the most salt, making it even more evident that salt water once consumed and settled within this structure. And you'll also see it noticeably at the southern entrance, respectively. It's worth noting that the highly respected Randall Carlson himself has analyzed this site and stated that it is a location of cataclysmic water erosion. He actually went into detail about this on his own YouTube channel, and I highly recommend you check it out, and I'll leave a link in the description down below. But let me play a couple short clips so you can hear it directly from him.
Okay. And in fact, I'll show you in a minute, it looks like there was evidence for extreme floods over this whole landscape. You can see incised by erosion, this is obviously water erosion here.
And he goes on to make the comparison of the massive recessional cataracts found at Dry Falls in Washington state, which were caused by cataclysmic flooding at the end of the last ice age. Well, it turns out that the Richat itself has the same type of water erosion as well, as he points out here.
Which is very interesting. You see what actually looks like recessional cataracts.
Yeah.
So the stripping and exposure of this feature may have involved catastrophism.
Now, hold on to that thought, because he goes on to point out that you can even see the landmark water ripples created from immense levels of water flow all around the Richat, which matches the landmark ripples observed in the northwestern United States in the same exact region as the Dry Falls recessional cataracts as I just shared. The pictures you see here are at the Missoula floodplains in Washington state and Montana, which Randall Carlson was discussing. And those massive ripples...
Okay, I'm going to skip that part.
...such as Carlson himself, which indicates that something else, something separate, happened over this area far more recently. And the fact that these landmark water ripples still exist in the same fashion as the identical ripples in Washington state only further adds to the corresponding evidence that something happened over the Richat at that same period of time. And these features of water erosion would have surely been eroded long ago, especially when we consider that the Sahara is confirmed to transition back and forth from lush green jungle to desert every 20,000 years. And that's according to a study by MIT, by the way. But that by itself would constantly be changing the surface of this region. I mean, think about that. With all the constant changes we now know that the Sahara endures, to even suggest that the area around the Richat hasn't changed in the last 50 to 66 million years ago is basically like saying that nothing has changed here since back of the time of the dinosaurs, which of course would make no sense. And to be fair, nobody is actually suggesting that directly. However, that would have to be the case if what they were saying were correct, and it obviously isn't. There's obviously more to the story, as clearly something happened to North Africa far more recently. And when we discuss seismic flooding 11,600 years ago, let's compare that to the time frame to other separate declassified CIA documents that I also discussed in a different video a couple years ago. There is a book called The Adam and Eve Story, which was discussed in a secret CIA meeting some 50 years ago, and the book itself was not classified, as some have thought, but the reason why this book was discussed in a CIA meeting in the first place is still classified. But in that book, the author, Chan Thomas, described events that happen routinely on Earth that cause biblical levels of ocean flooding over entire continents. And look at the date on that. Identical to the 11,600 year date I've just been discussing. And keep in mind, this book was written 50 plus years ago. So where it says 11,550 years ago is actually the same date today. But I mean, come on, what are the odds of that? The same date described continental flooding, and here we have the Sahara Desert that looks like it was obliterated by a continental-sized flood. And if you haven't watched my video on that, go check it out, as it's becoming increasingly clear that there is a connection to what we're seeing at the Richat and North Africa. And that's not all that's to be said about the 11,600 year date, as it is the same exact date that Atlantis was said to have been destroyed, as Solon went to Egypt in 600 BC and was told that Atlantis had been destroyed precisely 9,000 years earlier. Well, 600 BC is 2,600 years ago from today, and then add the 9,000 years on top of it, and it equates to precisely 11,600 years ago. That is far too precise to be a coincidence, and if you ask me, it is legitimate evidence that Atlantis actually existed. But if that's not overwhelming enough, the 11,600 year date is also the same exact timing of the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe that occurred 11,600 years ago and instigated what is referred to as Meltwater Pulse 1b. There was a sudden and rapid rise in global sea levels at the end of the last ice age and again 11,600 years ago. All of the dots connect here, and it's apparent for all who have eyes to see. Something really bad happened on Earth at that period of time, and it's weird that this isn't discussed in more headline news. But now...
Okay. So you got the gist of it. There is plenty of evidence to suggest that not just did Atlantis exist, but that it was, in fact, its center point was the Sahara, the Eye of the Sahara, and that there was a continental-wide destruction that took place, actually worldwide. Now, you may ask, why would all of this be classified? And how does any of this connect to any other show that we've done? Anybody have any thoughts?
Everything's connected.
Yeah. So 3i Atlas is here checking our temperature, testing to see where we're at in this plan for this great awakening, to see where collective consciousness levels are. Not a test, but perhaps definitely a judgment. Because I was always shown two outcomes, two possible scenarios. One that ends the same way Atlantis did, and the other where we don't have to go through the cataclysms. And this is a full circle moment for everyone that's here as a volunteer, as a starseed, as a past life experiencer of Atlantis or Egypt or any other timeline that is in connection with this bloodline of people. This is our opportunity to get it right, to not go into discourse, to not go into feuds against each other, to rise above it and be able to bring the vibration of the planet up where it needs to be so that her shields are protected and we don't have to get smited again. Anybody got any thoughts, comments?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's just like the Tower of Babel. You know, there was a point in that civilization where they were trying to like almost show up God and be like, look, we're just as powerful. We can even build a building that goes to the heavens. And it's schmite. You're all going to speak different languages. It's going to be harder for y'all to rise up like this again against me. You know, it makes me
Yeah.
wonder how many times we've done this. And then I know that there's another place that Atlantis uh, was presumed to be, and that was under the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in between North America and Asia, the Asian continent, somewhere in the Atlantic. And after tonight, I believe that they were kind of placed all over the continent.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's not just one metropolis
Mm-hmm.
that's called Atlantis. The origin, of course, was in the Eye of the Sahara, but there's one in the Pacific Ocean near Japan. There's one on right off the coast of Florida in the Bimini Isle, the Bimini Road that people know about, in between the Bahamas and Florida. You know, they're all over the place. 9 of them, I believe. 10 total, 9 separate from the Eye of the Sahara worldwide. So It's not that anybody has ever been wrong in saying they may have found Atlantis, because there's more than one. Just like there's more than one Hall of Record that Edgar Casey speaks of, and they've all three been discovered now. So again, another signifier that we're in the right timeline here for discovering that, learning who we are, and being able to level up this time. I think it's a really cool, exciting time we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not getting smited this time.
Nah.
We're
Because we're
gonna
not
wake up.
trying to compete with God. We're trying to be one with God, level up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's the difference. It's not supposed to be about take him down and take over control. It's supposed to be meet him at where he's at in his vibration and become one again.
Makes
And
makes
we're
me
there.
really wonder what was redacted, you know.
Yeah, I know. I actually own that Adam and Eve book of Chan Thomas. And out of 500 and something pages, you only get 57 because they're still classified. But he does speak of Charles Hapgood's work, Einstein's work, Velikovsky, Falconelli, all these people that talked about the worlds in collisions and the destructions and the deluge, and that there's actual ice core samples and tree ring samples and all these different scientific examples that this really did happen in what school and science simply call the Younger Dryas era. But really, it was a pole shifting, earth changing, catastrophic event. And it's repetitive, it's cyclical, it's all set in motion. And the only thing that can alter it is collective consciousness. The binary star even plays into it. Nibiru, Planet X, whatever you want to call it. It all plays a part. It's all part of this giant Mayan calendar, the long count, that shows where we're supposed to be at in our rise and fall in humanity in different eras. And we just happen to be going back into the golden age this time. So this is the perfect time to make it right. Took us almost 11,000 years to get here.
I keep seeing the movie The Groundhog Day, where we just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again until we get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think odds of probability were stacked against us until now. This is the time that we knew that if we're ever going to get it right, it'll be now. Because the energy allows for it. Everything's clicking into place like perfect hands on a clock to where we can achieve this goal this time. And there's so many people, whether they connect with UFOs and aliens or starseeds or volunteers or any of this language that we use, they're drawn to Atlantis. They're intrigued by its story and its mystery. They feel a call, they feel a pull. Same thing with Egyptian knowledge, Native American, possibly even Asian, Celtic, Druids, the Titans, all connected. The Maori people, like a lot of people that know me know that I'm on a big obsession with the Maori people of New Zealand right now. Because I knew that they had to be connected somehow. And when I gave you all this assignment, I hadn't made that connection yet. That's something that came to me as I was in the process of channeling, viewing you all and how well you were doing with your stuff, that I was shown to look at the articles and stuff I've read before on the Eye of the Sahara, and I would understand. And then, Mauritania, and even Mauritania, though it connects to the Maoris and makes sense to me that direction, for whatever reason, it also makes me think of the Tartarians. And I feel like I'm going to find there's a connection with the Tartarians as well. I feel like Tartarian is probably just a different name for Atlantean.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, it goes along the lines of the misconception of thinking anything in the past couldn't have been any smarter than what we are right now. Because every 100 years, mankind thinks that they're at the top of their game.
The peak. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a cycle in itself. Just 100 year cycle. You know,
Yeah.
um, and the misconception to think that anybody in the past couldn't have been lined up with them higher selves, better
Yeah.
than we can now is definitely a misconception.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of this era that we're in now, this time that we're in, because we're not looking at it with that ego like we would have before. We're looking to the past to learn how to navigate and mold our future. And that's the beauty of this. There's so many people that when they hear me talk, outsider people, that don't really know me, when they hear me talk, they'll say, "Oh, you're one of those new age people." And I'll say, "No, this has nothing to do with new age. This is everything to do with the old way and embracing the old way and understanding it, learning from it, carrying it forward, appreciating our ancestors, our shamans, our wise men, and all that they learned and wrote to leave behind for us, including Homer writing the Odyssey and the Iliad. Like these great people that came before us that very well could be incarnated today in some average modern human, you know, helping the collective purpose that we're all moving toward right now. Missy, what are your thoughts on it?
I just think that now more people are willing to talk about what. I'm not saying that they didn't feel things before, but they kept it quiet. They didn't voice what they were feeling or their opinions or even question. And now people are talking to each other and learning from each other and asking the hard questions and learn and getting the answers that they themselves didn't have but were too afraid to ask before. So I just see continued growth, and it is our time. Like it is the time to stop the cyclical stuff. And I just think it's a great time to be a part of, because I know the past few years have been, for me, I have grown leaps and bounds and stuff that maybe I always knew was there, but was like, I'm not so sure about that. But deep down, it was like, you need to check into that. You need to check into that. You're thinking of that for a reason. So I just think it's a great time to be in, and I think that we need to continue growing and continue asking questions and relying on each other. Like the thing that we do here, I think is fabulous because pushes us to it pushes us into out of our comfort zone and into some place that we're not so comfortable. We know it, but we're like, that can't be. And sure enough, every time we do it, it's spot on. Like we all have our own areas that we dive into, and they're not the same. If we were all the same, we'd come up with the same answers, but we all bring a different part to the solution, the problem, the solution, the whole thing. And I think that's a great thing. And I want to continue doing it for a while and just see where we actually all can go as individual selves and as a group, because we can be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that's a great thing.
That is the goal here, that we are that force that's needed, that force, that catalyst that amplifies all of the energy out. Yeah. And Jen, what are your thoughts on all of this?
This has
I'm
just
really
been
curious to know.
so freaking cool. Like, I was so nervous about this, and I've been holding back tears of joy for, you know, doing it. And it's like, just holy shit. I'm blown away. I am absolutely blown away. And I don't
Yeah.
need to be nervous anymore.
You don't.
You
You
know.
don't. And I knew that you would, more than the others, I knew that you would be really surprised
Yeah.
at how this all fits together. And Missy's right. Everybody's got their own attributes that they bring to this
Yeah.
that shows a complete story. It's not like anybody is focused in the same target specific direction.
Mhm.
And that's what
Yeah.
I love about our team is that we all bring we all come together and see the same thing, but in such different ways that it really makes a really beautiful, vivid picture for
Yeah.
everyone to see. You know, it's like we're the four directions, right?
Mhm.
And we just fit it all together.
Yeah.
So, what's everybody's thoughts on how well I remote viewed each of you and assessed what I thought you would do?
It's
I'm
a little,
impressed.
it's a little scary.
Yeah.
I think she knows us way too much.
Yeah, this is I'm kind of a newcomer, I guess to the circle, to Kelly's circle, and I guess it doesn't take too. I mean, shit, Kelly. I guess we've known each other for a couple years now. I guess I don't. I've lost track, but yeah, it's a little scary. It's I'm honored, actually. It's not scary at all. It's just something that you say. It's an honor to actually be working with you and the other ladies here.
Yeah, it's been an honor having you. And just so you know for sure, it's been 1 year this month.
And see, I remember that too because it started at the old house, right? Didn't it
Mhm.
start at the old house? I
Yeah.
thought so. We were
Yeah.
doing shows with them then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In November.
Yeah, right before we
Yeah.
decided to move on.
Mhm. Yeah. And I've known Jennifer for several years, but
At
we've
least
never worked
4.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we've never worked together in this context
Yeah.
before either. You know, she's been my friend for many years, but she
Yeah.
started out being my student and a client, and then we became friends. And so she's learned a lot about herself
Mhm.
along the way.
Oh yeah.
And
And
we're
I'm
learning from each other too. I mean, she's
Mhm.
incorporating the things that you're teaching us every time. You know, she was doing the doodling thing, you know, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. She was just telling us that last, you know, we were just flirting with that stuff, you know."
yeah.
And she this time she used a little bit of, you know, my thing, and there was a
Mhm.
time where I dove into a little bit of what she does, you know,
Mhm.
her loved ones, and her she picks like three main people, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty well, I mean, I know my spirit guides are my best friend that passed on, my grandmother and my grandfather. I may have more, but those are the ones I'm sure of. And I invited them to hang out with me during this meditation, but I didn't ask them any questions. I'm just like, come sit with me while I do this, y'all.
See, Kelly, spot on with that one. She was like, I
Yeah.
know Jennifer is not going to she's not going to do that this time. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, because you do every time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How would she know this time you weren't?
I know. That's so badass.
What you got burning in the background, Kelly? What is that?
Lavender in a steam
Oh,
machine.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it flickers like a little fire on the
Yeah.
camera. It kind of looks like a little fire flickering, but it's just like a mist machine with my
Nice.
lavender oil in it. And yeah, it smells so good. God, it smells
Mm.
good.
Nice.
It's yummy. But I got my Palo Santo sitting right next to it too.
That's like my favorite smell.
I stock
Oh, I
up on
know.
Palo Santo. I buy it in bulk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really excited for myself just because I've never tried to do that before. To just see how you're going to work and what you're going to discover and stuff like that, you know. Um, I mean, of course you can do those things with people, but it's like being too invasive, right? So it's totally against my norm to do that
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
anybody, you know. So I've never like actively tried is my point.
Yeah.
And but y'all knew this was coming, so I didn't feel like I was invading people's space too much,
No,
right?
no.
I was just focused on your work for the show, and I'm actually really proud of myself for being able to get that so well because I was like, man, some of this shit may sound crazy. I may get this totally wrong, and they'll be like totally offended by me, you know. And so even I was concerned about my own work that I brought to the table tonight, and I'm pleased that we all did so well, especially me because I don't want to make nobody feel bad.
We all
Missy,
got to
what do
pat
you think
ourselves on
about?
the back.
Right, yeah, Missy, what do you think about how because you did really good this time with staying so freaking clear of me.
I was trying.
I mean, sometimes because we live in the same house, we sort of stumble over top of each other's work a little bit, and then we're like, "Ah!" But it didn't even happen to
Yeah.
she completely evaded me. I didn't even know if she did her work, to
She's
be
like,
honest.
yeah,
I was
she's
like,
like,
"I hope you're gonna be ready."
yeah, when are you gonna do your work? And I'm like, I've already done so. And she's like, what?
I was worried. I was like, "Oh, she ain't done nothing yet."
But I've also found out it comes to me sometimes when I'm at work, like when my mind is not thinking about it. I'm just busy in like the normal day to day stuff, and I'll be like, "Oh, where'd that come from?" And I'll just like put a pin in it and remember it, and then. But most of my stuff comes to me when I'm sleeping, like when I'm just because my mind is everywhere. It's not on one thing. It's scattered everywhere. So when I come to my stuff, I'm usually asleep and I'll get up and I'll wake up and I'm like, okay. And then when I go back, as I go to sleep, when I start getting stuff, I'll be like focusing on that and I'll be asking myself questions as I'm getting ready to fall asleep. And then I'll just kind of like go right on into it. So I'm learning new little tricks and trades. I don't use the stones or I'll meditate a little bit. I don't use cards. I did the pendulum. I think once me and Kelly did the pendulum, was asking questions, but that's not my thing. I don't. Um, it seems to be sleep is my thing when I'm at peace. So I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know.
just trusting in your astral body. I have a question about that though. Are you using like a dream journal or something by your bed to write this stuff down to keep track of it? Or is it just that vivid in your mind that you're keeping it?
I have a notebook by the bed, but I don't necessarily write in it all the time. It's like when I have a dream, for some reason, I don't normally remember my dreams, but for this, when I have dreams about stuff that we're doing, or I remember it, like, and it doesn't like all come to me at one time. I only get little snippets here and there, and then um as it continues, the pieces start kind of falling in place. I only get like it's weird because I get like for this one, I got the first time was like I got the color green and water and big animals. That's all I got. And then as I focused on it more, I started getting more of the other stuff. And like I said today, the whole woman thing just came to me today. I was like, was a woman in charge? What she's of some importance, but I didn't have a clue. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna put it down because that's what I'm gonna do. But it just comes to me throughout and I just kind of remember it. Like, but for dreams and stuff like that, when I'm having like normal dreams, half the time I can't even remember the dreams. So that's why I have the journal. Kelly taught me like they must mean something. So when you wake up, just jot down what you see, and then you can go back to sleep. So I've been trying to do that, but for this stuff, I don't do that at all. I don't have to. It just stays there.
Hmm. Cleopatra kind of keeps popping up just tonight though with our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought I'd mention Cleopatra.
See, I keep thinking, what is it, Nefertiti, whatever her name
Yeah.
was. I think
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking of her, but I don't know.
Missy, turn around to your left and get Cleopatra off that table right behind your shoulder.
Where's she at?
Bronze Cleopatra right there by your red candle.
Oh, what? I should have seen.
She should be
I'm
sitting
blind.
right there by your big red candle.
I see a turtle.
No, Cleopatra should
Oh
be there too.
no, there's a rock.
I didn't bring her over here.
No, she's
She
not over
should still
here.
be sitting there. If she's
Oh,
not
I'm gonna
over
go
here.
get my Cle.
I was like, I'm blind, but I don't think I'm that blind. I see
Well,
like 3
and
rocks, a candle, a turtle.
Here's my Cleopatra.
Nice.
Nice. Am I missing it?
well, hell's fire. Where did I put her? Oh, right here on this table.
Oh, well,
She got relocated.
I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Let's see yours, Mike.
She's on a boat.
I like it. It reminds me of the genie lamp.
Yeah.
Here's my
Ooh,
lady.
Cool.
very nice. Oh my.
She sits on a chase.
Man.
She's on a chase, darling. And she does have clothes on. They're just very
Yes.
minimal.
Mm.
And she's also a part of all of this. It's all connected. So is the Alexander the Great and what's his name with Merlin?
Merlin?
King, what's his name?
Solomon?
Arthur. King Arthur.
Arthur?
Oh, okay.
My brain went blank for a minute. Yeah. King Arthur also fits into this. It's all part of the bloodline.
And you got your 69 little tennis 6'9".
Case of sweat.
Yeah.
I could just dab my brow.
So that's what those are for. You
Mhm.
Yeah.
sweatbands are to. Oh,
Yeah. When you're playing tennis, you don't want to use your hands. You don't want to get your hands sweaty because then you'll lose your racket.
okay. Learn
So
something new every day.
you wipe your shit up like that.
Okay.
Dab it up.
Very cool.
Yeah. See, you just learned something new, Miss Youngin. Our little Miss Youngin.
That's me.
She's just a
Yeah.
baby. You just a baby, ain't you?
43. But I look
Yeah.
30 something, so I'll take it.
Right?
43 is the new 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And 53 is the new 40.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'll just do that. All right, guys. Do we have any closing thoughts, words, comments, anything we want to tell to the audience about today's show?
Mm,
That was just amazing.
yeah.
Like, I can't wait to watch the replay on the big screen.
Right? Trust your instincts.
Yep, trust your
Trust yourself.
instincts. Yep.
Yeah.
Go with what
Not really
comes.
being afraid to just, now we know it's just part of it. And we just kind of giggle
Yeah.
at it at this point.
Mhm.
We'll
Exactly.
mention it, like we'll go, this seems kind of silly, but I'm going with it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we just trust that there's going to be a reason,
Mhm.
you know,
Yep. No need to
and
be nervous anymore.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that it doesn't have to be done any certain way. It's
Yeah.
whatever feels the most natural and easy for you.
And it will
Okay.
all come together.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just trust that it will all come together. It always does.
Every time.
Every time.
And it's all in the
I
leadership. You're such a great leader. You really are.
oh,
I agree with
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
My greatest gift to give to humanity, I hope, is to set you free from your limitations.
Amen.
Show you how. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want for all of us. Because we have unlimited, untapped potential that can truly change the world. We really are who we've been waiting for, guys. And I thank everybody for tuning in. I hope that you loved it. And we'll see you again next week.
All right. Good night.
Bye. Good night.